Today, guys, we are going to talk about, we're going to do a few things. First of all, we are going to do, we're going to talk about the Marlborough, and that is this ship that I've got right here. I don't think I have ever seen anybody fly this camo on it, and it is the tamest of the three that it comes with. We're going to talk all about this ship. I literally unlocked it. I don't know. I guess I can't say literally since I'm estimating now. It was like the day after on stream, I casually said, yeah, I'll unlock it and then I'll play first battle ever. I'll play it on stream. And then as soon as I unlocked it, I was like, I'm getting this Marlborough ready to go. I'm going to take it into stream. And Scott said, no, you can't lie to the people. You must play your first battle on stream. So that is exactly what we are going to do. We are going to play my first battle ever on the Marlborough. Here on this stream. You guys are going to be here for it, but first I kind of want to go over the ship and talk about it. I think this ship's been out, a lot of streamers have been playing it, there's a bunch of YouTube videos out about it already, so I'm late to the party on that because I bought one booster pack and then I ground the rest of the ship and I didn't get it done like as quick as I possibly could. So the first thing I want to do is take a look at the camos that come with it. You guys may be aware of this one. Seems to be the one that most people run, and it's the one where we initially got the screenshots. It's got the purple, it's got the green, a little black. It's a fairly tame camo. Obviously the purple is quite exciting. It's not a color we see on a lot of ships for World of Warships, so exciting might be a bit of a stretch, but it is a kind of a unique color. Pretty common. I feel like this is the camouflage that I see most people running when they run this ship. Of course, at first glance, you recognize that Marlborough has 16 guns. That's 4 turrets of 4 barrels each. We're going to talk about those guns here in just a second. Now, there's also this alternative color, if you have these unlocked for completing that campaign, which is just a more tame color. It almost looks U.S. Navy color in scheme. It's blues, it's grays, and well, actually, that's it. Blues, grays, and maybe this is either a white or a light gray. So pretty tame camouflage here. I think with my kind of boring sensibilities, that's the one I'm going to run. The one I would like to have run would have been this one, except for it's just not good looking. These look like they're pasted on. Now, if you swing around the side, you can tell that these are hanging. They are 3D animated. They are not animated, but they are three-dimensionally rendered, and they hang off the ship, but they're so paper thin that when you look at the ship from the side, it looks like they just pasted a sticker on there, and it does not look good. I don't like to hassle the art department very often, and neither does nobody else, but it's like, yeah, exactly, one pixel, one sprite thick. They just look false. Now, when we get in, like I said, you can tell they're hanging off the side of the ship. You can see it right here, but they don't look that way. There's no depth of field on these or whatever. So the white camo looks great. I love the parade detail flags and stuff. I think this is cool. Unfortunately, the execution on those, whatever these things are called, the bunting or whatever, it just does not look that good. So for me, it's got to be one of the original flavors. Everybody's running this one, so I'm switching to the alternative and going with this one, which is ironically perhaps the most boring camouflage available for this ship. Now, of course, you could put on any of these consumable camos as well and have yourself, I don't know, an orange Marlborough, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody, because that's like the worst. Kato is here. Welcome, Kato. Welcome, Bowmaster. Glad you guys showed up. Jimbo, howdy. We've got the whole crew rolling in. Thanks, guys, for showing up and supporting the show. I appreciate it a ton. The other thing, before the show got started in our Discord, we were chatting a little bit about this ship. Berger here had taken it out and had a great battle in it and was showing a score screen in there. In order to support that, Scott and I were talking. He suggested that we create a score screens and replays channel. This was actually a suggestion from one of our viewers, not Odysseus, a long time ago. And I said, yeah, maybe when we get a few more people in there, and now that time has come. So we've got a channel in the Discord for you guys to play score screens, replay files, whatever in there. Scott and I have been talking about some ideas about how to maybe do replays or something on either on live streams or in YouTube content. Not quite sure what that's going to look like yet, but if you're interested in that kind of stuff, or just sharing with the other people that you've met through the stream or through the Discord or on Twitter or whatever, you can feel free to share that content there. If you're posting in the Ship Talk channel, let's have that be talking about captain configs, things like that. If we're just sharing score screens and talking about battles, let's go ahead and do that over in the score screen. And I think it's called replays and Scoreboards or something is the name of the channel. Let's take a look at the equipment for this ship. So pretty standard fare battleship. It has a hull repair and it's got a damage control party. No acoustics, no spotter plane, nothing special as far as that's concerned. When it comes to armament, HE, AP, and airstrike depth charges. So again, pretty vanilla. These are the same things you get on tier 5 battleships, tier 6 battleships, tier 7 battleships. It's not a very exciting battleship that brings something fresh to the table in terms of armament or consumables. Okay, so pretty basic stuff there. This is what I've gone with for upgrades, which I feel is a pretty standard battleship arrangement, maybe. Main armaments modifications, because I don't want anybody knocking out my main battery. Damage control system, because I want to put those fires out. Aiming systems modification to reduce the dispersion, and this boat needs dispersion reduction, and we'll talk about it. Anyhow, steering gears modification, just so I can be a little more maneuverable. You can see the maneuverability here with this mod on there. It's 13.4 seconds, which is not incredible. Concealment mod brings me in at about 13.4, which is not very short range in terms of that. We've also got main battery mod. I went with the reload here, although there is an option for auxiliary armaments or the range modification, but because of the inaccuracy of these main battery guns that we'll discuss here momentarily, I decided to go with the reload boost on that one. So again, maximum speed is about 31.5 knots, which isn't really burning anything down, but it's pretty quick. So we were talking a little bit about the HE rounds on this ship. Let me see if I can switch over to MS Edge and pull this up. So this is a website that Scotta turned me onto this last week, and I will send you guys a link if you want to check it out. Hey, Bean and Cheese, welcome to the stream. This is a fantastic website for comparing attributes of different ships in the game. I find this to be really useful. I love WoW's fitting tool for what it brings to the table, and this is a different way to view a lot of the same information, the same data that you can get out of WoW's fitting tool. So hey, Granite, welcome to the crew here. We're glad to have you join us. Thanks for the follow. What you can do with this, of course, is I've set up that I want to look at Tech Tree Premium and Decorative Ships. I filtered by battleships, and I selected UK. I sorted to Tier 9, and this lists my Tier 9 battleships. Let me turn off the little Clyde head there. Did I say data? I did say data. And we're going to go with upgraded modules, because I want to see a fully upgraded version of each of these ships. And then we're going to take a look at, you can look at general information, main battery, AP shells, HE shells, etc. So if we look at the main battery, let's compare Marlborough against the Lion, just briefly. The ship is pretty much the same size. Lion is actually slightly shorter. The beam, it's not side to side. I think it's middle to edge, but a naval person would be able to tell me more about that. I don't care about how much they weigh. Hit points is important, though. Marlborough brings in almost 77,000 hit points to Lion's. Let me roll that up just a little higher. Can I? Can I do this? No. Well, that's just unfortunate, isn't it? We'll do that. Hit points, we've got 77,000 almost hit points on the Marlborough and 68,000 almost on the Lion. Marlborough's a little bit faster as well, and the acceleration is about the same. Detectability is almost identical. Detectability by air is slightly to Lion's advantage. Turn radius is very similar, with Marlborough being on the less maneuverable end of things. And the rudder shift is a little worse on Marlborough as well. Fuzzy, I think you're probably right about that. Torpedo protection is almost identical on the two ships as well, 24% for Marlborough and 25% for Lion. And fire resistance is identical on both ships for 43%. So in large part, the Marlborough is very similar to the Lion. There's a couple of things that I think are less valuable that Marlborough is better at, and a couple of things that are a little bit more valuable, things like turning radius, and things like the torpedo protection, but it's just such a slight edge. I don't think there's a huge difference here. The big difference really comes down to those hit points, right? 76,800 hit points for the Marlborough and 900 hit points for the Lion. If we go to the main battery, let's take a look at this. Marlborough has 16 356 millimeter guns at tier 9. Now 356s, for those of you guys keeping score at home, those are the guns that we have on things like the Texas or the Oklahoma. The Congo. These are tier 5 battleships have 356s. Lion has 419s, which is pretty big. I mean, 406 is like what we see on the US battleship line. There's some 420s on the German battleships as well. So 419s are kind of in the mix there with what we would expect out of a normal Tier 9 battleship. The AP DPM on the two ships, obviously Marlborough has a very, very big numbers advantage there. 403,000 damage DPM versus 234 for Lion. But we'll find as we go that Marlborough's guns are a lot less usable, so it's going to be harder to get that APM out of this ship. HE DPM is also in Marlborough's advantage as well. The range is about the same, 20.9 versus 20.7. Reload is in Marlborough's favor as well, 25 seconds versus 30. 180 degree turn time's identical. Horizontal dispersion, that's side to side, right, is the same, 180 millimeters. Vertical dispersion is 93 millimeters. And then comes this value that you can just see on the edge of the screen here called sigma. Now, sigma is some number they use when doing math to determine how dispersy things happen within that dispersion ellipse. So we take that 180 meters wide and 93 meters high, that forms an oval or an ellipse, and then sigma goes into the math tubes somewhere, and they use it to determine how scattered your shells are within that ellipse. If I understood it better, I would tell you more about it. This is something I'd like to get a little smarter on, but we know that a lower sigma results in more, I'm going to call it shell scatter. There's probably a better term for it, but in less accurate shots. In other words, the shells with or the guns fired out of a lower sigma, or the shells fired out of a lower sigma gun are going to be less likely to go where you clicked than the shells that are fired out of a higher sigma gun. So when we see a 1.4 and a 1.8, and we know that a lot of guns in this game at this tier on battleships are either 1.8 or even 2.0, 1.4 is the lowest number I remember seeing anywhere in here. What if we bring in all of the other Tier 9 nations and we sort by sigma? Marlborough is the worst, 1.4, with Pommern being 1.5, Alsace being 1.6, all the way up to Baji, which is 2.1. Baji has a slight buff over the Azuma, the ship upon which it is based. So it has the absolute worst sigma of any battleship at Tier 9. Now you get 16 shells, and they go into an ellipse the same size as the Lions, and Lion only gets 9 shells, so maybe you're filling enough of that ellipse with shells that you're going to get damage and hits anyway. I don't know. We'll find out. I still have not yet played this boat. Flight time is 6.6 seconds. I assume that is at, that's at 12 kilometers here. We've got a little number there. Let me see if I can squish this in. Maybe you guys can see that better. And then 6.2 or 6.3. So slightly faster shells coming out of the Lion as well. Now HE, let's take a look at HE first. The other thing I wanted to talk about is the fire chance of these shells. The fire chance, way over here on the right-hand side, is only 24% on the Marlborough. It's 48% on the Lion. Now, British ships have pretty high fire chance already, but not the Marlborough. It's 24. So if we add in American battleships and we sort by fire chance, Marlborough is worse than all the American battleships. If we get rid of the Americans, we bring in the Russians, we sort by fire chance, it's worse than all the Russians. We bring in Japanese battleships. It's worse than all the Japanese battleships too, right? So Italian battleships, worse than, well, obviously, worse than all the German battleships. Worse than all the French battleships. It's got the lowest fire chance. Now, granted, it's also probably got some of the smallest shells, and you get a lot of them. But this sigma is really low, and the fire chance is really low too. So maybe it's not an HE boat. Maybe it's an AP boat. I don't know. Let's find out. Go take a look at the HE or the AP shells. Now, this is assuming a 12-kilometer firing range, which is a little bit short. Let's push this up to 15 kilometers. That's actually a pretty comfortable range, maybe even a little too close for a lot of battleship captains, honestly. We've got a 721 kilogram shell versus an almost 1,200 kilogram shell. Again, smaller shells are going to weigh less. The damage is pretty close, actually, 10.5 versus 13,000. That's not too bad. The initial speed is higher than Lion's. And then there's something about this drag coefficient. Now, it's basically going to be how the shell slows down, I guess, as it goes. A higher number, I think, is worse here. If you guys know better than me, let me know in the comments below or over in chat. That'd be great. And so we see a longer flight time because of that increased drag coefficient. And so that's why we're seeing, or that's That's how we're evidencing, basically, the fact that drag coefficient is slowing us down. If this is getting to be a little deep, guys, I apologize. I promise we're going to play World of Warships very soon. Impact speed. I have no idea how this works. I just think that that's interesting that they have that information. What we've got over here, though, is the penetration. The AP penetration of the Marlborough's AP shells is 370 millimeters versus 568 on the Lion. 370 is really, really borderline. Really borderline with some of the more heavily armored battleships in this game. It is a really, I don't know, man. I feel like 370 is not enough. I think there are places on all of the battleships where you can get through with 370, no problem. There's going to be some part of the ship that you can hit. But on certain heavily armored battleships, I'm thinking Kremlins, I'm thinking, you know, Soyuz, I'm thinking maybe even Pommern or FDG or this soon-to-be Preußen that we're going to get. 370 is going to be borderline in some of these places, as it has to try to go through a turtleback and then through like the actual armor of the Citadel to try to get into these places. Shooting through guns, 370 is going to be tough to do. Thurback says HE for the win, and I think for the Marlborough that's going to be the case. I think we're going to have to lean more on the HE, but we're looking at the HE and we were seeing that it has a lower fire chance than we were hoping, right? Now, I think a lot of people have already studied this ship. A lot of people already know that they're not a big fan of what Marlborough is going to be. I'd already committed to it. I bought a booster pack, so we charged right through, and we have this ship. We are going to go play it, and we're going to do that next. Ricochet is here, 45 to 60. Which I think might be slightly improved. I usually go look at that information on the wiki, so I'm not quite sure how to interpret this here. So I'm not going to claim that it's got anything better there. The fuse time is how long it takes from initial impact to when the shell detonates. And the shorter fuse times allow shells to detonate inside less armored targets, so cruisers and the like. You can see that Lion here has a 0.015 second fuse time, which means it's going to hit the outside of a Minotaur. It's going to fly for 0.015 seconds and then detonate, versus 0.033 seconds, which is over twice as long, and detonate, which could result in some additional overpens because of that longer fuse time than the Lion has. Now, just as a quick check, let's bring in American battleships, and we can see that Lion actually has an improved fuse time versus these American ships, which have 0.033. So Marlborough isn't like bad there, it's just not good like Lion is good. So just a quick thing to be clear about. PM says low pen and long fuse time is a bad combo. And I think that's true. I think what we actually have here is low pen and average fuse time, right? Remember, Lion has a benefit there. It isn't that Marlborough is worse than other battleships. That said, I think we may struggle to use the AP. Okay, I think that was pretty much all I wanted to cover here. So I'm going to hide this. We're going to go back to the ship over here. Again, I've kind of gone with pretty standard fare stuff there. For now, I am not going to build a custom captain for this ship, although if I wind up playing a lot of it, I might. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab my captain off the Lion, and we will go right there. I think that is this. Nope, that's my daring captain. Here we go. Here's my Lion captain, which is just kind of a generic captain. I don't really know that I've aced this captain setup for British battleships, but if you'd like to see what it is, it's over there. You can check that out. I've only got 17 points. I've only spent 14 of them. And tonight, I'm not really interested in spending those last 3 points right now. I want to spend some time really engineering this captain, especially as I get closer to unlocking the Conqueror. I'm going to turn up the game audio. Let me know if you guys get too much audio or too much game. I think usually we have too little on this channel, but... Well, she doesn't look bad, and I love 16 guns. That makes me happy. I love the Lion, the Lion, for the French Tier 7s. That Tier 7 battleship. I loved having 16 guns on that thing. Maybe this thing will be good too. Early reports are in, and they are not exactly positive, so we shall see. I am the only Marlborough out here. We've got 9s and 10s with us. From my one Kraken win with it, I think it is the best battleship in the game. Oh, Burger. You sweet summer child. Well, let's see how this thing goes, man. So I did reload in it instead of range because I thought with that Sigma, the range is going to be so... It's going to be so flopsy. Like the shells are going to go every which way but where I want them to go. And so I did reload instead, which brings my main battery reload down to 22 seconds. That's almost Scharnhorst levels of reload, which starts off at a base of 20 seconds. So I don't know if this is going to be any good at all. I theorize it will be terrible, but let's find out. The grind was worth it. Yeah, the range is 20.9, which I also felt like was sufficient. All right, here we go. HE in the tubes. If I don't get a fire, I'm returning it to the store. That's not true. I'm going to keep it. Kato said, I went with range since you're going to be against 9s and 10s, which will outrange you. That is very solid logic. 6 hits, 0 fires. One of those hits was a shatter, but... Actually, the fact that only one of those was a shatter was pretty good. No super heal either, by the way. It's just 384 hit points per second. So, whereas Lion has a nice super heal. There we go, we got 3 hits and a fire. You think the dispersion is hooey? You mean that it doesn't actually have bad dispersion? You think it's pretty good? It might be fine. I mean, when you think that Marlborough has 1.5 per sigma, and this is 1.4, you're like, well, it's only 0.1 worse, right? So maybe it's okay. I mean, you put enough shells out. I haven't missed yet, but I'm shooting a large target at 15 kilometers. I'm just keeping all my shots on that pom-pom. What do you need, Des Moines? In what way can I assist you? Can I shoot a tiny, tiny Friesland? Let's find out.
Командир, требуется поддержка.
What you need, Des Moines? Let me just ask you, since you're just hitting the F5 button a lot. I ran into the wall like an idiot.
Поможем.
There we go. Did I miss? Oh no, the shells were still flying. It was only 13 kilometers. I was like, why? Let's go ahead and heal up, shall we? I should have let that burn. That was a mistake. Oh, Marlborough. Yeah, I was totally going to play this on the weekend, and Scott was like, no, you told the stream you wouldn't play it. Oh, yeah, Helmet Clyde. Where is he? There we go. Thanks, Bowmaster. Keeping me honest. I don't know why they're not shooting at me. I'm in what is perceived to be a notoriously bad battleship. And I'm like on the wall like a dork. I am not spotted right now, which is kind of good. What's my detect? 12.1 after we put the captain on there. So 23 hits so far, 1 fire. Now, some ships have, and there's more to know about this than I know. Some ships do have like, I'm gonna catch on fire resistance numbers, I think. So that's something I need to investigate more. Maybe you guys know of a good resource to read about that. If you do, let me know. Because I'd like to know more about that. And of course, I prefer sources that come from Wargaming, as that is my custom and that is my way. Here's a Goliath who just lit me on fire. Now we're going to switch to APs for no reason. I think I should be able to get another. That was 8,000 damage to the Goliath. I mean, I have 42k on. We are losing, and I can't seem to kill anything. Angled Goliath. Not a huge angle, but a little bit of an angle. Let's see if we can hit him, first of all. He's gonna dodge, isn't he? Arg. But we hit him for 3,400. There's a Montana. Now that's a great option. Let's try to shoot this Montana with AP. So far, the HE hasn't upset me too much. I'm hoping that Montana will pull the trigger again here. And kind of like soon before I get too far away. There he is. Look at all those shells going. They're gonna come down and rain onto this thing. 1 overpen, 3 pens, and a shatter. So of the 5 hits, 4 of them did damage. 3 of them did not overpen. See if we can catch this Goliath unawares. I have been on fire a lot over here, and I'm not really having I'm not having a good time with being on fire. 6,400. That was 5 bouncers. Now he'd turned and given me a bad angle. That was a good pivot by the Goliath. Now he turned out again, this time to get his back gun in play. Let's see if these do anything. I think he might just outrun them, though. That might have been a bad shot on my part. Oh boy, I'm extremely ablaze. It's time to go quiet, if I can. Now that's a Satsuma who's gonna tell me I can't go quiet, because that's the ship that just did me in, I think. Oh! They got me. 69, nice. 1,000 damage was all I was able to muster. I expected it to be worse. Like I heard so much about it. I expected it to be worse. It wasn't good. I had a lot of like 5,000 and 6,000 damage salvos. I didn't have very many 0 damage salvos, but they're still battleship guns. It started out really well, and then I switched to AP. Yeah, Burger says, but with the reload that fast, and with so many shells, maybe the dispersion doesn't matter. That's a good comment, man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm interested in the boat. I don't think it's like my new favorite battleship. You know, I'm not going to probably say that, but I thought it would be worse. So I guess maybe if you guys are in the same boat as me, you're about to unlock the Marlborough, but you're not sure you should bother. I don't know. Maybe finish it? Maybe not? I don't know. I'll leave it up to you, of course, but Burger says he's in for it. He's a big fan. Just finished my first battle in the Marlborough, and you can see it is a defeat. 69, nice, 1,000 damage, 58 gun hits, 2 defends, and just 2 fires. We did some APs in there as well, but less on the non-pens and shatters, or excuse me, non-pens and ricochets than I would have expected.